So I have with me right now former Finance Minister, Mr. P Chidambaram. Thank you very much, Mr. Chidambaram, for joining us. There is a nationwide Farmers Bharat Bandh today. They're raising their demands. I want to know from you, Mr. Chidambaram, the government on its part is now saying that they're ready to accept some of those demands. But the farmers say that no, we want the repealing of this law. In your understanding, why do you feel that only a complete repeal is going to be of interest and not an amendment?
You see, this bill is anti-farmer. This bill is not a pro-market bill as it is being propagated. This is a bill or act which paves the way for the entry of corporates, weakens the APMC system. With whatever defects the APMC system may have, it weakens that APMC system, takes away the sole safety net of farmers, and sends a sense of fear among farmers that eventually it will be an unregulated environment in which they sell their produce. So whether you repeal the bill simply, or whether you repeal and reenact the bill, or whether you amend the bill amounting to repeal, the form does not matter. What matters is ultimately what is the result of this exercise. So let the government come and tell us what it proposes to do. See, there is a well-known drafting methodology called repeal and reenactment. You repeal a bill but reenact it. Let the government do that. What's the problem?
No, Mr. Chidambaram, a political point has been made by the BJP where they say that the Congress's opposition particularly should not much meaning should be read into it, because during UPA 1 and UPA 2, a number of efforts were taken by your government to do the exact same thing. I mean, these are the words of Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, that they're only implementing what you started.
The Law Minister is not the gospel truth. Read our manifesto. What did our manifesto say? The manifesto said that marketing of agricultural produce must be reformed. There's no quarrel about that. But in a way that the farmers do not end up feeling that they are cheated, they are being deprived of the only safety net they have, and they're being thrown into an unregulated environment at the mercy of corporates. So what did we propose? Please read our proposal. What we proposed was that we will establish markets in large villages and small towns. How many small towns are there in India? How many large villages are there in India? It will run into tens of thousands. You establish multiple markets, thousands of markets, make them accessible to the farmer. Today, take for example Maharashtra. Maharashtra has 326 market yards. But the average distance a farmer has to travel to sell his little surplus is 25 kilometers. It's an inaccessible market. It's a market by name for him. Therefore, establish thousands of markets with light regulation, and I've said what the light regulation will be, that you will only do weighment and price fixation of not less than MSP. You establish those markets, then the sole APMC sort of becomes irrelevant over a course of time. The idea is you establish multiple accessible markets. Without doing that, these farm acts dilute or in fact diminish and debilitate the sole safety net which the farmers have got.
No, I'm just trying to understand, Mr. Chidambaram, because the government says the exact same thing. They're saying that these laws will create a parallel system which will mean more markets for the farmer to sell its produce. That's the sole objective of this bill, according to the government.
Completely wrong. We wanted thousands and thousands of lightly regulated markets. What the government bill does is an unregulated environment. Every farm gate, the corporate or a middleman or a broker or a trader can come to the farm gate and buy. If I'm at my farm gate and I've got 25, 30 bags of paddy from my 2 acres of land, which I think is surplus, what bargaining power do I have? What pricing power do I have? It is based on completely wrong assumptions. In fact, everybody knows these assumptions are totally wrong. That the bargaining power between the farmer seller and the trader buyer is equal. Is it equal? Then in Bihar, Bihar is the classic example. Bihar repealed the APMC Act. What is the result today? Report after report. There was a report even day before yesterday. Practically every farmer in Bihar is selling today at below MSP. Why is he selling below MSP? You mean what the government wants is already there in Bihar. Completely unregulated environment without an APMC. Why are people selling less than MSP? Why are the farmers not saying, this is great for us, we're getting better prices? Has any study been done? Why don't you send your reporter, talk to 100 farmers in random? I bet not more than one farmer will say that he's getting MSP.
Okay. My final question. Now, the government seems to have proposed 3 amendments. Amendment number 1 is that MSP become a statutory right. In fact, it is part of a law, or there is a written assurance to the farmers. Then giving amendment number 2 proposed is that there should be legal rights given to the farmers, and not just to the SDM court. They have the legal right to move courts if they are unhappy. And third is for a parity to exist between private mandis and APMCs. The government feels that these were the 3 broad concerns of the farmers which we are willing to accept. If these amendments are made, Mr. Chidambaram, in your wisdom, how necessarily does the farm reforms become bad?
What is a private mandi? Who will run the mandi? Will it be regulated or unregulated? Will it be an unregulated mandi? That is why the best course is to repeal and reenact. Whatever amendment you want to do, which you think will satisfy all the farmers, repeal this act and reenact it in the same legislation. Repeal and reenactment is a well-known legislative device. Repeal this act, which is sending fear among the farmers, and reenact it in your new form. If the farmers accept that, both sides are satisfied. The farmers have achieved their objective of repealing. The government has achieved its objective of reenacting a law which is acceptable to the farmers.
So you think this has become a battle of egos?
The only ego I can see is the ego of the Modi government. My way or highway. I have made this law, I have a majority, and that's it. Their inspiration is Donald Trump. This attitude of the government, I won't consult anyone. I won't consult the opposition. I will pass a law. If you force a vote, I will ensure that there is no vote in the House. There was no vote in the Rajya Sabha. We'll pass the law. And the speaker or chairman will say the law is passed. This is known as Trumpism. Trumpism is a word that describes what the Modi government is doing.
Okay. All right, Mr. P Chidambaram, thank you very much for joining us right here on NDTV.
Thank you.